All right. So for the second Friday Night Live submission, we had readings this week on work and what does it mean to work and to reflect on that and kind of like what is a Christian response to work and to rest. In class, I participated in the Sabbath group, mostly because that was the article I wanted to yell at the least. I feel like with the Sabbath, it was taking honor in working 6 days a week and resting the second, and not using that rest as like a break to work more, but as a serious contemplation for that. I actually thought that article worked in direct contrast to the Sawyer's article. I can't pronounce that really correctly, but I had a hard time with that article because it was almost suggesting that a Christian was too good for some jobs. And that is something I just completely disagree with because we always need work regardless of the capacity. And my response in class was to that question, why work at Walmart? And my immediate response was why not work at Walmart? If there is a job, if there is good work there to be done, and you can go in and live off of that, or at least attempt to live with that, that's why wouldn't you? I remember there was a quote from somewhere. I think even my grandpa told me this, but it was, "You are never too good to flip burgers." And so one of my first jobs was in the food industry, and my summer jobs were as a waiter, and just finding ways to make ends meet. And I don't think there is any shame in that whatsoever. We talk a lot of times about our vocation and how we have to be passionate for a job, and we have to be, our work has to be completing the kingdom of God in some way, shape, or form. And we talked about the person being in the back of the factory. Like, oh, what kind of sense of the job is for that? But if that is providing sustenance for a family, and if that man is heading up his family, then what shame is there in that? What shame is there in a man who is taking a job that ultimately, yeah, he may not like? But as headship of a family, if he is to provide, if that is what is needed for that family, then I don't believe there is any shame in that in any way, shape, or form. That is actually, I would say, honoring God in work, that they need to make ends meet. And so I think we get a lot of times caught up in this career and calling and vocation where, especially as college students, we may feel that we are too good for a job. And we like to think that, and I would like to think that since I'm getting a 4-year degree, that in education I would hope to be getting a job within that education, and the career path is pretty straightforward. But if you don't end up doing what you do with that degree, is that the end goal? I have a friend that got a youth ministry degree, and took him 4 years to complete, thousands of dollars in debt, and he got his first youth ministry position and got burned out extremely quickly and couldn't pay off his loans, and he now has one of those factory jobs, and he is shaming himself, and he is ashamed because what he set out to do is not what he is doing now, and he feels like that 4 years was a complete waste of time. And I keep wanting to tell him that that was also a life-changing experience, and with the corporate America and capitalism, we seem to think that a four-year degree is always meant for greater return financially. And what if that 4 years at a Christian institution, you got a far greater spiritual return than you did financially? And that is something that I wanted to speak into him, is that, and anyone who goes to a Christian four-year university, I can't necessarily say that for a state school, but just saying that I believe that many a times the spiritual return and growth and maturing that happens at a four-year institution, maybe you become a manager at Aldi's or Walmart, jobs that do pay and you can live off of, but maybe you didn't do that. Maybe that will be your ministry. But I don't think there is any shame in taking a position of work in order to make ends meet, because you need to live and survive, and finding a way to honor God in that. I I don't think there is any issue for a Christian to do so, and I think that's what Sawyers was trying to imply when I read that article. So I'm excited for class on Monday. Great to discuss the readings there, but yep, that is all for today.